Welcome to today's tutorial. For today's tutorial, I'm going to be teaching us how to draft a princess that bustier. For today's class, I have an already drafted front bodice block and also a back bodice pattern. Okay, so if you don't know how to draft a basic bodice block, I'll drop that down in the description box. Okay, I'll drop a link there so we can go back, watch it, and follow through. So now we'll be starting off with the front bodice block. Okay, we are going straight into the princess that bustier. Okay, so now for the armhole princess that bustier, the first thing we're going to do here on my pattern is to divide our armhole curve. Okay, so from the shoulder slope to the chest line, we'll measure it, and whatever you have, you divide it by 2. For me, my shoulder slope to my chest line is 7.5. Okay, so I have 7.5 here. I'm going to divide that by 2, which will give me 3.75. Okay, so I'm going to mark down 3.75 right here. So this is the midpoint of the armhole. So we're going to, from this point, we're going to go out by ½ inch on both sides. ½ inch here, ½ inch here. I'm just marking out the lines, okay? And then we'll be connecting that back to the bust point. For this pattern, I already have an excess because this dart intake, we had replaced it back to the pattern, and then I had already added a 1-inch seam allowance to the pattern. Okay, next thing to do, we're going to do our under bust tightening. Okay, for the under bust tightening, my under bust I have here is 29 inches. 29 divided by 4 will give me 7.5, sorry, 7.25. So I'm going to mark that 7.25 here, and whatever excess I have here, I'm going to use to spread on both sides. Okay, so the excess I have here is 2 inches. All right, so I'm going to spread out 0.75 on this point. That is from this your middle line, from your dart leg, your dart line. I'll spread out 0.75 here. And then I'll spread out 1.25 on this point. Okay. And then our waist measurement is 28 inches. 28 divided by 4 will give me 7. Okay. So I'll mark that here, 7. Whatever excess I have left here is what I'll be spreading out also. And here also I have 2 inches. Okay. So I'm going to spread out that 2 inches same way I did this. So I'm going to spread out 0.75 here and 1.25 at this point. Okay, hope yes, the lines are visible. So now you will take your arm hole curve, your hip curve, and you connect it back to the bust point line. Okay, and then you do same okay. So now you have your armhole tightened. So what I'm going to do now is to extend this line downward. Right. So next thing I'll do, I'm be extending this dart leg. Okay, extend it downwards to the top length, and then I'll connect this back to the dart leg. As you can see, we have a perfect armhole princess that bustier. Okay, so now what I'll be doing next is I'll be extending this armhole that, okay, I'll extend it by 1 inch, and the purpose of that is such that by the time you are joining your dress, you won't have a shortage here. Okay, from this point by 1 inch, or you can use 1.5 depending on what you want. So but mine, I'll be extending it by 1 inch at this point, and then I'll connect it back to the armhole. So we have a perfect armhole princess that bustier. Okay, so now I'll cut it out and then show us what next to do. I started cutting it already offline. I just came back to show us, to just finish it up so we can see what it looks like. This was the earlier look of our pattern. Okay, so this is this point here. So now I'm going to close down this bud start. Okay, this is it. This is what it looks like. I'll cut this out and show us. I'm done cutting, and this is what we have here. This is what we have. This is what it looks like. Okay, please don't forget to add your seam allowances to your sides. All right, don't forget to add. You can either add 2-inch seam allowance, 1-inch seam allowance, 1.5, however way you want it, but make sure to add. I would even prefer you add 2 inches so you don't have a shortage. Okay, it's better to have an excess than to have a shortage. And don't also add 1/2 inch round your seam lines. Okay, 1/2 inch here for the joining, 1/2 inch here for the joining. Okay, so we are done with the front bodice block. This is our princess that bustier for the front. I will show us the back. This is our center back for the princess that bustier, and we'll be doing basically the same thing we did for the front. Okay, it's optional. You can either just use your basic dart here, or you can add, if you want the back to also have a princess dart, you can just do this. So same thing you did for the front. Your armhole curve, mine is 7.5 divided by 2, 3.75. I'll mark that down here. The only thing you're going to do here is just connect this back here. That's all. This is all for the back. Then you can extend the line, extend your that leg. This is basically it for the back. Okay, and then cut it out. But if you're not doing this, you can just hold in your dart intake. All right, so this is our back bodice, and we are done. So we are done with our front pattern. This is what our bustier looks like. Okay, and now this is our back, where I showed us how to draft it. So if you want to cut it out, you do that. Cut through the dart legs, cut out for the back. Okay, if you don't want that, you can just hold down your dart, your basic dart. So this is our front bodies, and this is our back bodies. Okay, thank you all for watching this video, and see you all in our next tutorial class.